Simena. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sandra Mathoslah-Sayegh, and I'm an active duty pharmacist with the United States Public Health Service. I've deployed for several emergency situations, including natural disasters and disease outbreaks, and I recently just returned from my first deployment related to COVID-19. I'm honored to be here with you today just to share a word of encouragement and share with you some of my own personal thoughts and things that have helped me get through these types of situations, such as the one that we're in right now. First and foremost, I just want you to know that so many people are praying for all the healthcare workers that are on the front lines. And I know that God is with each one of you. I hope that you feel it and sense it as well. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is that something that I've struggled with in these types of situations is the feeling of helplessness, because, you know, our typical arsenal of things that we would lean on to help people who are sick or in need may not be applicable in this situation, and more often than not is not applicable. So sometimes I end up feeling helpless because I can't do the normal job that I was trained to do in healing people with, you know, the normal tools and medications and parameters and guidelines and everything else that we use in order to help people. But I want to encourage you and share an excerpt from a book called Becoming a Healing Presence, to highlight the fact that just our presence alone with the power of Christ and the Trinity inside of us can actually be healing in and of itself. So I'll read a small part for you. Christ is everything. Christ is our physician, our complete healer. He wants us to be his humanity on earth, his healing presence to others. We are a healing presence to others when we give them strength and when we give them hope. But the only way I can have something to give and heal is if I have allowed Christ to care for me first and foremost. There is no other way. I begin to care for myself by centering my being, my soul, my mind, and my body. I allow Christ to center me by gradually becoming still inwardly, which is no small task in today's environment. I just wanted to share that with you because I think really our biggest task right now in these difficult times is really to be still as much as possible inwardly. Of course, the exterior and our external circumstances can look so crazy and frazzled, and there are time crunches and deadlines and turnover, and I mean a lot of stress on the outside. People who are, everything's emergent right now, and I totally understand that. That's why it's called an emergency situation and a pandemic. But I think the biggest thing and that we can do for ourselves and for the people that we are treating, that we're serving, even for our own family members and for our friends, is to carve out some time, even if it's in a bathroom somewhere, if you just have a few minutes to carve out some time for inward stillness, and have just commune with Christ in the quiet of your heart. I think that is the biggest thing that you can do right now. I know that it's even more difficult now than it was before to do that, but I urge you to make it a point to find a way to do that. I think we underestimate how powerful Christ's presence alone is in healing people, in healing their minds and their hearts. And even sometimes when people are sick, what they need above all else is not healing of the body, it's healing of their anxiety, of their worry, and to regain peace in the inmost place of their heart. So in order for us to be conduits of Christ's healing presence. We need his presence in our own lives, in our inmost being. So I think the biggest, word of encouragement I could give to all of you is to find a way to steal that moment of just communion with Christ, in a very real way, communing with the Holy Trinity in any way that you possibly can. Just steal a moment in the morning and the afternoon and the evening and fill yourself up with his presence. If by nothing else, just by remembering that he's with you, he's inside of you, he's strengthening you more than ever, and just recalling that he is with you, I think can be very helpful. And just let yourself be the conduit of his heavenly fire, of his presence, and just let it spill out onto the people that you're serving, that you're around, your family and your friends, who probably maybe even need it more than your own patients that you're serving right now. So just remember that, having a little bit of time, some moments here and there to do that will be so helpful for you first and foremost, and for other people. And then the other thing I wanted to share is that, in these situations, I've learned to not really trust what my own eyes see. And what I mean by that is that not everything is as it seems, particularly in the life of Christ and in the life of a Christian. So many things are backwards to our own earthly understanding of things. We have, actually great example, Holy Week and Good Friday is coming up. And all of those things, all of the events of Holy Week, just seem so backwards to us. Like, why would a God, a heavenly Father, come down in the flesh and be murdered in such a brutal way? I mean, the cross itself looks like nothing but despair, but it, and according to the human mind, it, of course, it does look horrible, and it was horrible. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but what we don't see is what God sees, which is the fullness of the plan of everything. What was such brutality and such darkness and such despair of the God King hanging on the cross, actually was the most marvelous act of mercy and love in the history of mankind, in the history of the universe. So all that to say, I mean, things may look very bleak, but just don't, for right now, have hope and know that not everything is as it seems, and trust that God has a plan that's beyond what our own mind, what our own eyes can see, and our own mind can analyze and make sense of the situation. We should not be leaning on our own understanding, our own interpretation, no matter how many stats and numbers and percentages are thrown at you. Just, do your absolute best to just let it go, and truly believe that God has, a grand picture that we only see a small part of at this moment of time. So yeah, so if nothing else, please just remember that Christ's presence within you is healing in and of itself, and that nothing is as it seems at this point. So just remember that our God does things that seem strange. Of course, not saying that he is spreading this virus, but he has allowed it, and he would never do that without some benefit to each and every single one of us on this planet. And all of us need to be able to just relax and rest in the fact that he loves us more than we can ever imagine, and he already has the big picture and is taking care of us. So I hope that each of you can find a way to steal some time to commune with the Holy Trinity, and to be fully in his presence, so he can fill you up, and that you can fill up others with his presence and his love. And maybe find a way to practice, just not leaning on our own faculties, our supplies, our our normal, the normal arsenal of tools that we have to lean on, including our own mind and interpretation of things. I'm praying for you all, and I know that many, many people are praying for all of you on the front lines, and I hope that this is all over soon and that we can celebrate together in person, and all this will just be a dream soon, hopefully. Okay, take care. God bless each of you.